Welcome back to the Polo Womo channel. If you're tuning in, it has been like 2 months since I made any content. So that is on me. There hasn't been a lot though around me, to get into. But today in particular, and I feel like it's a good time for me to talk about this because I was talking about it a lot in my last video. It was about Mike Tomlin, and it's kind of time for him to go. So yesterday, January 13th, Mike Tomlin stepped down as the head coach of the Steelers after 19 seasons, 19 consecutive winning seasons. Um, it's kind of a shock. I'm not gonna lie, because let me say this. Let me say this. I wanted him to. I never wanted Tomlin fired. Let me be brief about that. Like, Tomlin didn't deserve to get fired, but I think it was time for a change, is what I'm saying. I think you go looking at a lot of Steeler fans. I mean, sure, not all of them are going to share this, but I think majority of them would say that they don't hate Tomlin. Like, it's just like it's time for a change. I mean, 3 straight years of 10-7 first round first round butt kicks. Like, it's not like it's just been the same recipe for failure pretty much the last 10 years. I mean, you come back from 2016 or whatnot, Killer Bees, first round bye in the playoffs, and Jacksonville comes and kicks your butt twice that season. Kicks your butt. 45. They scored 45 at your house. That was really like the downfall of like Tomlin, I would say, for the most part. I mean, after that, you got 2018 they didn't even make the playoffs. 9-6-1. 2019 that was the Ben Roethlisberger, bad arm, whatever. We had people like Dante Moncrief running routes. Mason Rudolph, Duck Hodges. 2020, obviously snuck in the play. No, 2020, started off 11-0 and then collapsed. And honestly, you could say this is like the trend for the last 5 years as Tomlin's regime. It's either start the season off really good, surprising people, looking solid, or and then collapsing at the end of the year, no momentum into the playoffs, and get thrashed in the first round by whoever we play. Or part two, you can look at, we'll say 2021, when they schemed their way. Started off, by the way, like 1-4, something like that, 2-4. It was ridiculous. It was bad. Snuck our way into the playoffs at 9-7-1, and Kansas City gave us absolute BTA. So it's either to the last couple of years, it's basically been start the season off good, fall apart at the end, killed in the playoffs. Start the season bad, pick up momentum going into the playoffs, start to look somewhat comp, get killed in the playoffs. I will say this year, that 30-6 score versus the Texans, it should be more like 17-6. I mean, it really fell apart after, Rodgers, fumbled and then threw the pick, all that. But when you really look at it, I mean, this should have like anybody who saw the Steelers winning a playoff game this year. I mean, like, it just never was there. It never was. I think any team they played in the playoffs would beat them, especially in the AFC and definitely in the NFC. I mean, maybe the Packers because they've been so injured recently, but look what they did for Chicago. They almost won. They blew that game though. I think it just obviously Pittsburgh was the weakest team going into the playoffs. Like they've been a couple times now in the recent history. And part of that is on Tomlin. And that is on Tomlin. I mean, you can say he's taking mediocre rosters into the playoffs, but roster, construction is also on the head coach as much as it's on the general manager. He's the one helping him make the team. Tomlin's been the one making these teams. And you can say, I seen something, it was Max Kellerman. He said Tomlin's been taking mediocre teams into the playoffs. 2016, we had the Killer Bees. That's prime Le'Veon Bell, prime Antonio Brown. Defense still had people like, James Harrison kicking on it. So obviously it wasn't great. But you had Ryan Shazier, who was one of the best up-and-coming linebackers in the league. TJ Watt wasn't there yet. Cam Hayward was there, though. Cam Hayward was still a force. Like, the defense wasn't great, but, you had probably one of the best offenses in the league, if not like probably top three. 2017, they go 13-3. Had probably 9 or 10 Pro Bowlers, specifically mainly on the offense, and it's just unacceptable. You give up 45 points to Blake Bortles at home on a bye week. You had a week to prepare. You had 2 weeks to prepare for that game. 2 weeks, and you let them drop 45 on you. That's unacceptable. Unacceptable. And that's not on roster. That's not on the roster being mid. That team easily could have gone to an AFC championship, even a Super Bowl. They could have. They really could have. And it's just been the same. The standard is the standard. The standard is making the playoffs and getting their ass beat. Is really what it is. I'm sorry for my language, but that's true. It's just been like that. And then if you want to look at like when Tomlin even made the Super Bowl and stuff, that was with Bill Cowher's team. That wasn't with Tomlin's team. The 2018 was Bill Cowher's team. I'm sorry. They had Dick LeBeau there at DC. Like, I mean, yeah, somebody still had to coach the job, but like that wasn't his team. If there's one thing that you can poke at Tomlin and say that's his downfall: roster management, roster reconstruction, like building a team. That is his failure. That is what he struggles at. He can't. It's either the offense is too good and then the defense has nobody, or the defense is really good and the offense has nobody. There's never been a point since 2008 where it was meshed together, and that's just the facts. That's literally just the facts. And you can look at countless seasons now of proof of that. And once again, I'm not coming on here to hate on Tomlin. I love Mike Tomlin. I know ever since I've been born and even able to watch football, Tomlin has been the head coach of the Steelers. I love Mike Tomlin. I think he's a great person. I think he embodies what it is to be a Pittsburgher. I think he's just all around. He's a good, like, it. It's not that I don't like Tomlin, but it's time for change. You can only make the playoffs so many times and get your ass beat, butt whooped, getting beat by double digits. I mean, they broke a record for most, double digit playoff losses. And that doesn't even count how many they've lost in a row. 7 now. The only person who's lost the same amount as Tomlin in the playoffs now in a row is Marvin Lewis. And Marvin Lewis is just a Tomlin freaking, disciple, defensive scheme type of guy, It's just, it sucks though. I think this should have happened a couple years ago. We could have started a rebuild. Steelers fans, I hope some of y'all feel me on this one when we said we just want to rebuild, build the team back up. I'm perfectly okay with being bad for a couple years if that means we're gonna, rebuild the roster. I'm sorry, but this team's just not gonna do it. All right, Jalen Ramsey, I'm sorry, but he's not been good. All right, we moved in the safety, not been good. He almost sold the game for Baltimore on that Isaiah Likely catch on 4th and 7. TJ Watt is washed. That I hate to say that, but he is. I mean, it's just no production at all, and he's a constant playoff disappearer. 1 sack in 6 playoff games. DeMar Hamlin has the same amount of those in 7. DeMar Hamlin and TJ Watt have the same amount of sacks and the same amount of games, basically, in the playoffs. Just a complete no-show every year in the playoffs. I'm sorry. He's not better than JJ. He's not. Myles Garrett is clear of him now. It is what it is. Still one of the greatest, I've ever watched do it, but it's time. I mean, we're paying him $43 million a year. Like, I respect Omar Khan for trying his best, getting vets to come together, but it just didn't it just wasn't enough. All right. You look at Cam Hayward, that was probably his last game Monday. It's probably his last game ever. And it sucks because he's still playing at an elite level, but he's 36, 37. Like, he can't keep doing it. It just is what it is. He can't keep doing it. I don't think Rodgers is coming back. I think, this is a perfect time to just, trade some people, get some picks, rebuild. If we miraculously somehow come back with like a start, if we make trades for like some good players and stuff, and we come back and it's the same thing, 10-7, I mean, like, at least win a playoff game. That's all I ask. I mean, the Tomlin lost his Monday Night Football streak. Oh, the Steelers lost their Monday Night Football streak, 23 in a row at home. Done. So, I mean, it's just I think now we can look up for it, like look up for the future. As before, you were just going into the season, you 10-7. People would predict the Steelers not to win 10 games or 9 games or whatever and lose their thing. And it was just like I feel like all Steelers fans knew they were always going to get to that 8-9 win mark, no matter what. No matter what. It's just we knew that was what was going to happen. And at the end of the day, change is good. Change is needed. Change can only, benefit for us. What I think they're going to do for the next head coach better not be Arthur Smith. If Arthur Smith's still even on the team next season, I love Brian Flores, and I think Mike McDaniel as an OC would be awesome, but I don't think that's possible because I don't think they're gonna come to a rebuilding team. Especially Flores. He's been rebuilding himself. Like he goes to a rebuilding team, people are just gonna think he sucks. Like no. So, but Mike McDaniel as an OC, I don't think he's a good head coach, but I think as an offensive coordinator, that's who you would want. I've been seeing stuff like Clint Klubin, the Seahawks OC that used to be the Saints, Klubenek. I can't say his last name. That's on me. But I've been saying him as the head coach. I don't personally see that. I think, Steelers, they're going to go and hire a defensive type of guy. And they're going to probably hire somebody young, only 4 coaches, or, well, yeah, it's really only 3 coaches since 1969, 4 coaches since 66, but they've all been brought in as like defensive type of guys, young, 34 was Tomlin and Coward, 37 Chuck Noll. I think they're probably going to hire probably somebody young, give them time to like figure out the roster as we have a couple of rebuilding years. And that's another thing. I'm open for the rebuilding. Like it's time. I'm ready to see us like seriously like start from ground zero. It's time. Like I don't want no more 10-7 sneaking into playoffs. Like if it isn't like number one seed type time, and I don't want it. All right. So yeah, I think we need a new look here. Offense, defense. It's time to blow it up. Joey Porter Jr. is probably our most valuable piece right now. I'd say he just had a great year, snubbed to the Pro Bowl, but the Pro Bowl's a joke anyway, so who even really cares? But yeah, I mean, offensive wise, DK's gonna be here for 4 years, paying him $30 million a year. Um, Jalen Warren and Kenneth Gainwell are nice. Offensive line is coming. I will say the Steelers' offensive line is coming together. You might not have thought of it looking at the Texas game, but that's because Rodgers was immobile as hell in the pocket. You got a 42-year-old quarterback moving like a fishing pole in the pocket, like he's standing there like a telephone pole. He can't move. The one sack he literally fell over. He didn't even get touched. So I think I'm not so. Personally, I kind of want Malik Willis at quarterback. We could have drafted him in 2021, but when we drafted Kenny Pickett first round, but I think we could, get him this time because I don't think the Packers are going to re-sign him, and I don't think he would want to re-sign and be a backup again. He showed talent, especially versus Baltimore that one game. I think he'd be perfect. Let him figure it out as a starter here for like a year or two. Don't bench him. Just like we're okay with just go out there and just try shit, man. Just like try your best. I think that would be perfect. So that's my if we have to draft a quarterback, I don't really like any of the upcoming quarterbacks. Maybe like I mean, it's really Mendoza and more that I would only like consider, and we're not going to get either of those guys. So honestly, I don't think they should draft a quarterback. I would rather see Howard this year, if anything. I think Will Howard should get a chance if we don't make a move in free agency for a quarterback. It should be Howard. That's my personal opinion, though. Even if they sign like an old vet, like they could resign fucking. Oh, they could resign, Russell Wilson or whatever, and like, yeah, that's gonna suck, but like, it's just like let him mentor like Will Howard so he sees two different perspectives. Rodgers and Wilson's combined together. Maybe we don't even need to draft a quarterback or something. Maybe Will Howard just becomes that guy. But that's just me projecting. Defensive wise, D line is good. We're gonna have, Nick Herbig, Keanu Benson, Jack Sawyer, Derek Harmon, Highsmith's only 27. Like we have time there. I'd say linebackers, Patrick Queen. I'm sorry, he's just not it. Payne Wilson, one trick pony. Malik Harrison, get the heck off my team. Like safeties, Kyle Duggar, garbage. Chuck Clark, garbage. Jalen Ramsey, mediocre. Corners, Joey Porter Jr., awesome. James Pierre, when an air fryer has been cooking, I don't know what they're feeding that man that made him just turn it around. But anybody who knows, James Pierre used to be a bum. He used to suck. And you would see him on the field, you'd be like, fuck, why is he the only guy out there? But he turned it around this year. He was good. We'll keep him. Brandon Eccles, see ya in Cancun, buddy. Cooked by Charlie Kirk. All playoff game. Charlie Kirk. I'm Stephen A. Smith now. Freaking Christian Kirk. But yeah, cooked. And so yeah, corners questionable. I think in the draft they should draft a wide receiver. I mean, it was DK Metcalf's not even a great wide receiver one, so we need another wide receiver. We don't have anybody else. After that, I would look at secondary, probably like a safety. If we get like a free safety, I'm gonna start looking into the draft after this video. I might do a mock draft coming up on the channel in a minute. We'll look into that. And yeah, I think linebacker needs addressed, and then probably maybe another offensive lineman piece, D lineman piece, just a bridge pillar that can develop and maybe become something. Always can improve. Sam Malu's probably gonna retire soon. Broderick Jones was looking better, but I don't know. I think Frazier, McCormick, and Fontana are good. But yeah, final thoughts on Tomlin. I wish him nothing but the best. I think he's going to go into TV. I think he's going to have a successful career there because it's Mike Tomlin. I mean, who doesn't want to listen to that guy talk? What is Tomlinisms and all that? I do see him coming back to coaching eventually. He didn't get fired, so if he does come back after only a year, the Steelers can trade him for picks, which, I mean, it's kind of like crazy. It's like we're using Tomlin at that point, but like at the same time, it's kind of like how it went down because he didn't fire. He kind of just quit. I don't think he quit. I think it was mutual. They're going to say it was him, stepping down. But I think, both sides were rather like it was time. So, yeah, that's my personal opinions on the Tomlin situation. I wish him nothing but the best. Shout out Mike T. I mean, coach my whole life. Like, it's going to be weird seeing the Steelers with a new head coach. And just, probably be bad for the first time in a while. So I appreciate him for everything he did, but change is good and change it was needed. It was time to switch it up and see what's going to happen going forward. So yeah, I appreciate you guys for tuning in. I'm going to try to get more content out shortly, try to do better. I just was really enjoying my first break from college and, I was enjoying my, my time, relaxing, not being stressed out about school and stuff. But with the semester picking back up here soon, maybe I'll get back into some stuff and we'll see. I'm actually curious about the mock draft. I might make a mock draft video, but until next time, thank you for tuning in, and I'll catch y'all next time. Peace.